Hello, hello, hello. I am Jess, and this is Jesting and Things. Welcome back. Just wanted to, dip my toe back in the radio podcasting world, aka slash watchers. Um, we are relaunching and reintroducing ourselves as Jesting and Things, the podcast. We were formerly on Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio. That was terrestrial internet radio. And I took a little hiatus, had to take a little breaky break, which is totally fine and sometimes needed. So we went ahead and did that. And so we're relaunching here on YouTube. So hi, YouTube. Currently live, zero watchers. That's totally fine. We've been away for forever, and then I really didn't have many watchers beforehand. But I did have a great listenership on terrestrial radio. So I'm looking for the opportunity to be able to reconnect with some of you all and then make some new friends. Yeah. Yeah. So who am I? I am Jessica. I am born and raised in California, a transplant in the beautiful state of Georgia. So currently a Georgia peach, and a mom and an entrepreneur. Um, and I am by trade a project manager, communication specialist, and I specialize in grant writing and with an emphasis on assisting overlooked and underserved communities. So this is an opportunity every time that I put pen to paper, assist with a grant in any type of way to be able to connect with my community and to be able to assist. So we'll be, chatting about a little bit about that, but mainly about where have I been and what have I been doing since June of 2021. So I started out on a whim. A friend of mine who already worked for Hits 92.3 said, hey, anybody looking to be on the radio? And I'm like, should I try it? Should I do it? Girl, I don't know. And then I made a decision that I will go ahead and try. Turned out to be a phenomenal experience for me. I was actually a natural. Who knew? Huh? And so it was an opportunity for me to connect with a new audience, to meet, like I said, new friends, new people. And so it felt like a second home to me. So I was excited to be able to be there. So looking forward to more of it and to rebuilding my audience and to just moving forward and connecting. And so I also wanted to talk about a big theme in my life lately. If you follow my Instagram, which is Jestingandthings, Jesting and Things one on Instagram and Facebook, I talk a lot about my fitness journey. I have been working my butt off, literally, for the past couple of years. And so I just wanted to share some of my experience and what it has been for me, what it has not been for me, things that I've experienced in regards to like relationship changes, body changes, mindset changes, etc. So if you see me looking to the side, for those that are watching on YouTube, it's because I'm looking at my notes. Just starting at the beginning of my story, 2019, took an amazing trip to New York City. Went to this thing called CurvyCon, which is hosted by CCO Lisa and Chastity Garner, two plus size content creators and fashion influencers. And it was a meeting of the fabulous and curvy minds. So there was clothing, there was food, there was lots of more free clothing. There were opportunities to connect with some of my favorite influencers in the plus size world. And as amazing as the trip was to New York City, because I'd never been, it was also very difficult because physically I just wasn't in the best space. My A1C was extremely high. It was a 13.1. I was experiencing like the little shaking fits, the diabetics get. I was experiencing extreme fatigue, and I was rocking at about, between 370 and 400 pounds. I don't really know. It was somewhere around there, but it wasn't cool because I just didn't feel good. It wasn't about being cute. Never thought I was ugly. Never thought that, the body wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. Face card was always, readable. We loved it. However, I was not okay physically. And I was starting to feel it. I couldn't get past it. And I was almost 40 years old. And so, things, honestly, once you get past 25, it's just all a blur, honestly. And especially 30 and then 35, I'm like, girl, what are we doing? What are we doing? Now I'm predisposed to diabetes, heart disease, etc. on both sides of my family. Multiple people are obese on both sides of my family. So dealing with all of that is not fun or easy. And then knowing that that could just be your fate, because, everybody juicy in the family. So, what's encouraged? We like to eat, we like to have fun, we like to, et cetera. And we love ourselves. However, was that the best thing for Jessica? Can't speak for nobody else. I'm talking about me. Was that the best thing for me? No. Fast forward to the return from our trip back to Georgia. I seek out a surgeon, found an amazing surgeon. But I did my research. I spent weeks looking for a person, reading reviews, asking questions, making sure that I had the right person for the job for me. I was proud to have found a Black surgeon. He's of Jamaican descent, but a Black surgeon. Very excited about it. He had phenomenal reviews and was just an overall kind man. And he had a very comprehensive program. So our program included not only the weight loss surgery, but it was working with a dietitian, a psychologist, taking cognitive tests, working with the physiologist, the nutritionist and dietitian. She kind of monitored what you ate to kind of prepare you. We took classes. We had to participate in support groups, mandatory in order to be eligible for the surgery. My wait was 6 months according to my insurance. It can be different. Sometimes it can be next day if you got that kind of insurance. I did not, or if you're paying cash. Neither one of those was my testimony. So I had to wait that good old 6 months. And then the great panini happens, the pandemic situation. And so it just kind of delayed everything. So when I should have had my surgery maybe April or May of 2020, I did not have it until mid-July. And there was a possibility because of new variants, new changes, the world being uncertain, because it was considered an elective surgery. They were not trying to hear me. They were like, girl, you're just going to have to wait. And I was like, oh, I will be waiting then, I guess. So I had to make myself wait and just deal with it. And you could not miss. Every month we had to have an appointment, could not miss the appointment, even though there were delays that were outside of my control. If I had missed one appointment from October 2019 until July 2020, my surgery would have stopped, been delayed, and I would have to restart the entire program. So it was commitment on my part. How bad do you really want this? Do you want this? Is this something that you can, deal with? And knowing that your life is going to be changed forever. So what I do when I normally am preparing for something, I gorge on information. So I was watching YouTube videos of people that had already been through my situation, had the type of surgery that I had, their aftermath. I looked up people that looked like me. So I looked up other Black women. I looked up people that were similar in size, like height and weight to me, that were, transitioning. What did they look like a year out, 2 years out? How drastic were the changes made? Did they lose their, because again, I didn't have any personal reference for this information. So I had to just make it work. And just learn as much as I could and be consistent with what I knew so that I could move forward. So I'm doing all the things, right? I'm, doing my research, everything. I finally get my surgery date. I have to take a COVID test. I was afraid. I only go to the grocery store, mind you, but I was deathly afraid that I was going to get sick. Everything turned out fine, had my surgery, then immediately had concerns because I was allergic to the anesthesia and it skyrocketed my blood pressure. I had to stay in the hospital an extra day. Normally you stay one night, you're good. I had to stay 2. My blood pressure was in the high 200s consistently, where they had to bring in doctors, nurses, etc., to try to bring my blood pressure down. Could not. I had sleep apnea. So my recovery, even coming out of regular surgery under general anesthesia, my body really likes to lean into it. And there was like, girl, wake up. I'm like, not yet. Maybe I'll just stay asleep for an extra 3 hours. That's my body really, really, really is affected by anesthesia. So those are all things I had to consider and live with, or consider that those are things that could happen to me. And they actually did. Then it was immediate changes. So what immediate changes? So if you think about it, in preparation for it, you're really reducing your diet up until. So for me, I was doing certain things to reduce what I ate, the amounts I ate, etc., moving up for maybe 2 weeks beforehand. I only had to do a liquid diet 48 hours before surgery. So I had to do like a full protein diet with like a dairy supplement. So I did like a Premier Protein shake, and then I had I had to do clear liquids for 24 hours, and then up until the day of. So my surgery was scheduled for like noon or something like that, on July 15th, 2020. And I went ahead and I was reducing every single day, like all the way down to like one meal. Then I couldn't eat anything for 2 whole days. So you do that, prepare for surgery. There was even an instance, real quick story. There was even an instance where there was going to be two of us scheduled for the same day, because we have to, like I said, we have to take classes 7 days before your actual surgery. You meet with the surgeon, and he's like, "Hey, don't do this, don't do that. Make sure you do this. Make sure you cover that. This is how you prepare." They try to think of as many things as possible to make sure that you have what you need to be as prepared as possible for this surgery. There's no real preparing, but they can give you tools to make sure that you have some of the stuff. So I'm doing there. I'm buying body pillows. I got a wedge to be able to sit and prop me up so I'm not laying flat on my back. I have jellos. I have shakes. I have chicken broth. I have, all the things, right? And so he's like, do not eat. He was like, I know it's going to be tempting. He was like, but if you have stuff in your stomach, it makes it harder for us to be able to see. You don't want to do it. The morning of my surgery, no, the day before my surgery, they called me and they're like, hey, we're moving your surgery up from 11 or 12 in the afternoon to 5 a.m. And I'm like, what? Why? The man that was supposed to have surgery the same day as me ate a turkey sandwich. And for me, I'm like, after a whole however many months of preparation, you eat a turkey sandwich, but it was really mental. He wasn't ready. And he had to go back and redo it. And so even the doctor was fussing when I was on the table. They was about to put me under anesthesia. He's like, listen, girl, I'm so mad at him. He said a few colorful words, and he was just like, I just can't believe this man ate a turkey sandwich. But if he wasn't prepared mentally, he told himself he couldn't make it. He couldn't handle it. Now, was it easy? No. But I was so amped up and nervous, and I wanted this so badly for myself and for my daughter so that I could be here to live for her, that I made the decision that this is what I was doing. And I had my accountability circle. They knew what was going on. They checked in round the clock up until I couldn't be on my phone anymore. So it was a blessing for that. anyway, you move through all that. I immediately was off my blood pressure medication. I was immediately off of diabetes medicine, etc. A1C went from, I had already brought it down to a 7 from a 13.1 prior to surgery. Post-surgery, I was at a 4, 4.5, 4.7, etc. And it's maintained that way. So no longer diabetic, technically, since surgery. And that's July 15, 2020. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to try to speed this up because I can just ramble and talk because it's a whole conversation. It's a thing. We'll talk about it again, maybe. Ask me questions, I'll answer. So moving forward, so the first 6 months, I'm like, okay, losing weight steadily, this is going good. Not really exercising. I was walking like maybe 20 minutes, 3 days a week, but my body wasn't moving. So a year after surgery, I'm like at a plateau. So I was at 400 pounds, around 400, between 400 and 370. Like I said, I will fluctuate back and forth. So I get to about 330 pounds and my body's like, that's enough. We don't want to lose any more weight. You're good. No matter if I ate, didn't eat, just drank protein shakes, ate too much, ate too little, and it's really hard to overeat. It is very hard to overeat. You can. Your body adjusts as time goes on, but it is very difficult to overeat because you will have all these adverse reactions and stuff like that, like burping, hiccups, extreme discomfort physically, all the things. You feel like there's a big old bubble in your chest. Just your ears can pop. It's so many. It can be different for different people, but for me, not the thing. Not the goal. Not what we wanted. We wanted to be as easy breezy as we could, right? So, but I had plateaued in regards to my weight. So I'm at like 330 pounds, and I'm just like, I'm still larger than charge. I ain't even broke 300. I'm thinking it's gonna be easy. I done seen people go from, the Pillsbury Dope Boy to Skeletor. Why am I still so fluffy? Now, mind you, if you're looking at this YouTube video, you see that I am still very heavy breasted. I'm still, full in the face. We're still plus size, but I'm also much, much lighter than I was. Still working on it. We'll talk about that later. But I realized that I needed help. So I enlisted a trainer, began working with him. He showed me a tool on how to work on myself physically and like get used to a new body. So it was almost like learning how to walk again. So learning how to do exercises properly, knock on wood. Thank you, Jesus. Come on. Yay, God. I have yet to injure myself in any way. I strained things before, but nothing where I'm like, I'm out. I can't do this. I can't move. And then I grew and developed a love of my own for being in the gym. for being, fit, for having good heart health, for just being excited about working. So again, it's a lot, but I am so proud of what I've been able to do in the gym, and my body is paying off. Now, again, I still got belly, I still got stomachs, I still got all the things, right? However, they're much smaller than they once were. Yes. Now let's talk about all the things that still remain. So I'm still over 200 pounds. Um, I have lots of loose skin from my arms, especially my breasts, my stomach, my inner thighs, and then my butt just kind of sitting up like, pew. No, we ain't got the major donk. It's the kids say. Well, the older people say. I don't know. I'm an older millennial. It is. Y'all was kids to me. But I'm like, my butt is lifting. I'm doing certain things to shaping my body. My waist has gotten smaller, but I still have extra skin because I was a much larger person for lots and lots and lots of years. I didn't decide to make these choices until I was almost 40. So the elasticity in my skin is not what it once was. So we will be having some skin removal, praise God. All those things will be happening. But again, even that is a journey. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen. So, breaking old habits. Ultimately, a lot of my problem has been food addiction, knowing what I like, etc., and then removing the option for a big course of time to be able to emotionally eat, etc. I've had bouts with depression, anxiety, etc., and so I realize it now more than ever that I've used it as a coping mechanism. Do I still sometimes? Yes, of course. I'm human. Sue me. Don't sue me. But it was an opportunity. This has been an opportunity for me to be able to reevaluate and even understand when I'm in that moment, because times before I did not realize that was what was happening. I was just like, oh, I'm upset, or, I'm gonna just eat this pint of ice cream, or I'm just gonna, whatever it is, whatever my vice was or my taste was at the moment. And I had to work through those things, and still am working through those things every single day, every single meal. I'm working through those things. So for me, the next thing is just holding on to good habits or better habits. Some of the stuff is just I no longer have a desire for, or I just can't eat because it just makes me so uncomfortable. So like soda is one of those things, uncomfortable. And even sometimes drinking water, which I do. I try to drink about a gallon a day, but sometimes that's uncomfortable. So I do things like Crystal Light or, non zero sugar situations to be able to assist just to kind of with flavors and stuff like that. I take lots of vitamins, but I don't take a whole bunch of medicine. But I take lots of vitamins, lots and lots of vitamins. When I do not take my vitamins, I pay for it. I get very sick. I mean bad, like down bad. Like, girl, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. I'm sick. So it's one of those things. And I have to do all that stuff. And so with the outside looking different, of course, let's talk about relationships. You receive lots of attention from people that, you probably wanted to get attention from that you never got. And now they're like, wow, you're beautiful. I never was not beautiful, sir. Excuse you. And so you have to dismiss those people, not out of vengeance or spite, but it's just like, no, thank you. Especially if you're coming at me real crazy. I've had people offer to, I've had offers for spankings, for funded situations, all the things. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know your grandma, right? Like, sir, you're out of line. But, people, they try it. It's whatever. You just kind of have to let that roll off your back with a grain of salt. I have a lot of people that are very encouraging, and they're like, wow, you look great. What are you doing? Da, 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 da. And even though I had weight loss surgery and I use my tool to the best of my advantage, also, I post daily photos of me going to the gym at least 4 times a week. So what do you think I'm doing? What am I doing? I'm going to the gym. How'd you do it? I went to the gym and I worked. And again, for me, we talk about the struggles and stuff like that. I still struggle with eating. I still struggle with making good choices, not binge eating. And there's a thing called slider foods. So slider foods are foods that, even though they probably shouldn't be going down easy, they do. So like chips, stuff that I ain't supposed to have will just be like, And so don't be watching something and you just like, you're like, wait a minute, where's the bag of the, and then other stuff, I try to eat some broccoli and I'm choking. It's weird. It is what it is. Everybody has different slider foods, but those are some things. So it's readjusting and giving myself limits. Like, you can have a handful, close up the bag, put it up before you even sit back down. So there's no temptation to reach back in that bag and get more things. So it's safeguarding. But again, beforehand, before I had the surgery, I did not have these safeguards in place, like mentally, physically, like they didn't exist for me. And so it's easier to overeat. So those are things that I have to work through. So, and then friendships, relationships. I had some people that acted differently with me. I had some people that applauded everything that I did. Other people were like, you're different. I don't like it. And maybe I am different. My focus is different. I talk about the gym a lot, which I'm sure gets on everybody's nerves. But also I have different goals and dreams. And I feel like me getting through this fitness or wellness journey has allowed me to see just how far I can go, that I have a lot less limits than I anticipated I did when I removed certain barriers. For me, weight was a barrier. Again, I have lots to do, still more work to do. Not even the skin removal surgery, but just me working on myself, better eating habits, more discipline. I'm pretty good on my fitness and stuff like that, but I can always challenge myself and things like that. It has been a tough journey mentally, just because things are you are literally a different person, and sometimes and body dysmorphia is real. So body dysmorphia is basically when you may not see what's really in the mirror. People are like, oh my God, you look so small, and I'm like, I still see myself at 400 pounds. And again, it's not that I didn't love myself at 400 pounds, but sometimes it is hard for me for my eyes to see to compute in my head. Other times I'm like, I take a picture and I'm like, wow, who is that? She's cute. Who's that? Who's that? Anybody? Who's that? And they're like, dummy, is you. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. That don't look like me, but all right. It just I can't explain it. I'm not a therapist or anything like that. I just know that is what it's called when what you're looking at, what you see, is not registering as who and what you actually are in the physical form or sense. And so I struggle with that constantly. That's something that I don't know if it'll ever go away. Even after skin removal, even after I've hit goals, goal weights, etc. I don't know if those things will ever go away. So it's a never-ending journey. This journey has only begun. There are a lot of people that regain weight. I've done that, but I've never gone past a certain point because I'm so uncomfortable physically now. When I go past a certain point, I'm like, I'm put on some weight. I can feel it. Even if I'm not on the scale, I can feel it. My body feels different. I don't know if it's mental, but I'm like, my back rolls, they starting to bulge. Oh, that ain't fitting right. It's like little indicators for me. And I'm like, okay, let's get focused. You've been slacking, da 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 da. Those, all the things, yes. So this is a lifelong journey that I'm on, but I'm happy to share it with you all because I believe that it's something that I should be sharing. I've had many people ask me if I've had surgery, and I always tell them like on a one-on-one basis, but I've never made this like grand announcement. I think I may have said something when I talked about my 1-year fitness journey after working with my trainer about weight loss surgery and stuff like that. Some people missed it because it was a long post. You anything past 2 sentences, they're like, "Oh, what is that? What's going on? Why are we talking so much?" And they just saw the pictures like, "Oh, you look cute." Others were like, "Hey, so you had surgery?" Other people have been asking me like, "You're losing weight. You look great, but what are you doing? Like, what's happening?" And I told them I had weight loss surgery. I'm not ashamed of it. Not something that I'll allow anybody to stigmatize for me because it saved my life. And I mean that. It saved my life. So if you're on a journey, if there's something going on with you, I want you to share it with me down in the comments. Share this. If somebody needs to hear this story, I know I ran through a lot of stuff in this few little minutes, but I just wanted to connect with you all and just kind of tell you what's been going on with me. So fitness has been my focus. Rebranding for this podcast, entrepreneurship, motherhood of a college student, all the things, right, have been my focus so that I am living to the best of my ability. I have lots of stories to tell, and I'm excited to share them all with you. So if you enjoyed the content that you heard today, if you would like to hear more of it, if you would like to share something with me, if you have some recommended guests, because I will have guests coming up, anything like that, please let me know. Please let me know in the comments, hit my DMs on my socials. And I look forward to chatting with you soon. I love you. I mean it. Remember that good people know good people, and I think you're one. Talk to you soon. Bye.